in the gilded city of Ethel. Perched atop the sun-kissed peaks, a prophecy echoed through the grand halls of the citadel. It spoke of a shadow that would fall, born from the city's own heart, and a new dawn that would rise from its ashes. The rulers, the High Council, whose lineage was said to be woven from the very light of the sun, heard this and trembled. But their fear was not for their people, it was for their power. They saw the shadow not as a warning, but as a challenge to their eternal reign. Their interpretation was swift and brutal. The prophecy, they declared, spoke of descent of the darkness lurking in the hearts of common folk. And so the age of purity began. Curfews were imposed, silencing the once lively streets after dusk. The vibrant tapestries and colourful murals that told the city's history were torn down, replaced by stark grey stone and banners bearing the council's golden sun emblem. Any art, any song, any story that did not sing the praises of the council was deemed shadow work and ruthlessly purged. Fear, a cold and creeping vine, began to wrap itself around the heart of Ethel. Neighbours eyed each other with suspicion. Children's laughter became a rare and precious sound. The city, once a beacon of culture and freedom, was turning into a pristine, silent prison. The people were told this was for their own protection, that this purification would ward off the foretold doom. But with every new decree, with every public shaming of a so-called shadow sympathizer, the true shadow grew longer. In the highest chamber of the citadel, accessible only to the council, hung the sunstone mirror. It was an ancient artifact said to reflect not just the image, but the very soul of the one who gazed into it. For generations, rulers had used it to seek wisdom and clarity. But this new council, they used it for vanity. They would stand before it, clad in their immaculate white and gold robes, and see their reflections not as they were, but as they wished to be, infallible, divine, eternal. They saw the fear in their people's eyes as reverence. They saw the silent streets as a testament to their perfect order. Their arrogance was a blinding light, and they basked in it. But the sunstone mirror, which had reflected truth for centuries, began to resist. The first sign was subtle. A member of the council, admiring his stern and powerful visage, saw a flicker in the reflection, a momentary glimpse of a gaunt, terrified face. He blinked, and it was gone. He dismissed it as a trick of the light, a sign of fatigue from his righteous work. Soon, others saw similar distortions. A faint crack would appear across a reflected cheek, then vanish. The golden sun emblems on their robes would sometimes appear tarnished and black in the glass. They grew uneasy, ordering the mirror to be polished daily, believing some impurity had defiled its surface. Yet, the phenomena only intensified. Whispers started to bleed from the mirror's frame, echoes of the very songs and poems they had banned. The council members would hear snippets of old folk tales, tales of tyrants who fell from grace, of pride that led to ruin. They became obsessed, spending hours staring into the mirror, demanding it show them the perfect, unblemished rulers they believed themselves to be. But the mirror was no longer a passive observer. It had absorbed the city's collective sorrow, its stifled creativity, its growing despair, and it began to fight back. One evening, as the entire council gathered before it, their reflections began to warp horribly. Their proud, upright postures in the mirror stooped and twisted. Their clean, regal faces melted into masks of terror and cruelty. The pristine white robes in the reflection became stained with what looked like soot and blood. The council recoiled in horror. This was not a mere trick of the light. This was a rebellion from the very symbol of their power. They accused each other of witchcraft, of bringing a curse into their sacred chamber. Their unity, forged in arrogance, shattered into 1,000 pieces of paranoia. Fights broke out. Accusations flew like daggers across the room. They had sought to eliminate the shadow in their city, only to find it had taken root within their own ranks, nurtured by their own pride. While the rulers descended into madness, consumed by the mirror's terrifying truths, the city outside was changing. The oppressive silence had not crushed the people's spirit. It had merely forced it underground. In hidden cellars and forgotten alleyways, the old stories were being told again. New songs of hope were composed in hushed tones. The artists, whose works had been destroyed, began to create again, using charcoal on hidden walls and weaving symbols of defiance into simple cloths. The shadow the council feared was not a person or a monster. It was the indomitable spirit of Ethel itself, the culture and community they had tried so desperately to extinguish. The strange occurrences were no longer confined to the citadel. Cracks began to appear on the grey, sterile buildings across the city, as if the very stones were crying out. Faint, ghostly images of the old, vibrant murals would sometimes flicker into view on the blank walls, a memory of what had been lost. The golden sun emblems on the banners would occasionally appear to weep a dark, oily substance. The people saw these signs, not with fear, but with a dawning realization. The prophecy was not about an external threat. It was about the fall of tyranny and the rebirth of their home. The climax arrived on the night of the sun's zenith, a festival the council had repurposed for their own glorification, as they stood on the citadel's grand balcony to address the silent crowd below. The sunstone mirror in their chamber finally shattered. The sound was not a simple crash of glass, but a deafening, soul-shaking roar that echoed through every street in Ethel. At that exact moment, every single emblem of the council's power across the city, every banner, every carving, every seal crumbled into dust. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. They looked up at the balcony, and for the first time, they saw the council not as gods, but as terrified. Broken old men and women, their faces pale with shock. The illusion of their absolute power was shattered along with the mirror. The prophecy's shadow had fallen. It was the shadow of the citadel itself, which had for too long blocked the true light. And from the ashes of their fear and oppression, the people of Ethel began to whisper the old songs. It started as a murmur, then grew into a chorus, a wave of resilience that washed over the city. The new dawn had begun, not brought by a savior from on high, but reclaimed by the very heart of the city the rulers had tried to silence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales from the forgotten archives of history and myth. Let me know in the comments what you think about this episode. See you in the next Chapter 6, Signs from the Sky.